Welcome back to the deep dive.
Hmm.
So today we're pulling something from the stack that, honestly, it completely threw me for a loop.
It's a bit of a curveball for
A
sure.
huge curveball.
Yeah.
I mean, usually we're tearing into, white papers on AI or complex systems theory. But today,
Today we are looking at a narrative case study that features a teddy bear.
a teddy bear. And I know how that sounds.
It sounds like a bedtime story for a toddler.
It really does.
Yeah.
And on the surface, it reads like one. But once you start peeling back the layers, which is, our job here, it's actually an incredibly tight analysis of decoding, of cognitive load, and how just shifting your perspective changes the way your brain physically processes information. It's disguised as a story, but under the hood, it's pure educational psychology.
Oh, it really is. It touches on how we learn to read, how we process sound, and what happens when our brain's autopilot gets jammed.
So let's set the scene for you before we get into all the heavy brain science. We have a protagonist. His name is Oliver, and we have the central anomaly.
Yeah.
His favorite teddy bear, Mr. Fluffernoodle.
And we really need to ground this because the sensory details here actually matter a lot. Mr. Fluffernoodle isn't some high-tech robot.
Right. He's not an AI learning aid like we usually talk about.
No. He is described as soft, squishy, and this is the detail that really stuck with me. He specifically smells faintly of cookies.
Which is such a specific, comforting detail, It establishes safety. This is a safe space. It's nostalgic.
But then that safety gets disrupted.
Completely.
Yeah.
So the mission of this deep dive is really to analyze what happens when that familiar, cookie-scented world suddenly starts operating by a completely alien set of rules.
It's the classic disruption of the known world.
So let's unpack the inciting incident. It's a normal morning. Routine is key here.
Because routine breeds complacency.
Exactly. Oliver wakes up, sunlight streaming in, he grabs this bear, gives him a squeeze, and says, "Good morning," just like he's probably done 1,000 times.
Standard input. His brain is expecting zero resistance.
Zero. But the output is glitchy. The bear responds, but he says, "Dot dinram do G."
And just so everyone listening is clear, that's good morning, but.
Perfectly reversed.
Letter for letter.
Oliver just freezes. I mean, you would. He asks, "Did you just talk?"
And the bear hits him with the mirror response.
Klatsu yui deed.
Okay, I want to pause here because this is where the neuroscience gets interesting right away. If the bear had spoken, say, French or just gibberish, Oliver's brain would likely categorize it as unknown noise and just move on. He'd be confused, but not strained. But this is different.
It's like uncanny valley territory for language, right?
Well, I wouldn't call it uncanny valley exactly. That's usually more about visuals, like a CGI face that isn't quite human. I'd call this semantic dissonance.
Okay.
Your brain hears the sounds, it recognizes the phonemes, you hear the G and the M, but the sequence, it just breaks the
Because
whole...
our brains are prediction machines.
Precisely. That is the fundamental function of the brain predictive processing. When you hear good, your brain is already priming itself to hear morning. It's preloading the auditory concept. When you hear dot ninram, that prediction mechanism completely misfires. You have to stop the seamless flow and manually engage with the data.
And at first, Oliver handles this the way most of us would. He thinks it's a game.
He does. He decides to test the theory.
He smiles and says, "I like pancakes."
A classic test phrase. Simple, declarative.
And Mr. Fluffernoodle doesn't miss a beat. He replies, "Sakaknap ikelai."
See, at this stage, the cognitive load is still pretty light. I like pancakes is short. Oliver can probably hold the original sentence in his working memory, his phonological loop, and just flip it mentally to check what the bear said. It's a novelty. It's like when you first download Duolingo and it feels like a fun little game.
But this is where it gets really interesting, because the novelty starts to wear off. Communication is actually about utility.
Totally. It's about transferring information quickly.
And when you add this massive layer of complexity, the game just becomes a barrier.
I mean, think about it. If I asked you right now to repeat what I just said, but backward, could you actually do it?
Oh, wow. Bahedi, on the way to Luak. No way. That takes way too much effort.
Right.
I have to visualize the words.
Exactly. You have to stop listening to the meaning.
And start listening to the structure.
And that is exhausting.
And Oliver hits this wall. He asks a simple question. "Are you hungry?" And the bear replies, "Dit turk nu we erere." And Oliver just scratches his head. The source says he just goes, "Okay, this is confusing."
That moment is crucial. It's the transition from fun to frustration. In learning theory, that is the danger zone.
How so?
Well, if it's too easy, you don't learn. If it's too hard, you quit. Oliver is right on that edge. The signal-to-noise ratio is getting all messed up.
Right. He's spending so much mental energy just decoding the syntax that he's starting to lose the actual meaning.
Exactly. And the bear, or maybe the universe, who knows, decides to raise the stakes. We move from just casual conversation to a call to action.
Right. The bear says a longer, much more urgent sentence. And this is the turning point. Oliver blinks. He literally cannot process this audibly. The stream of sound just isn't resolving into meaning. He's panicking a little.
And let's talk about why he panics. It's the affective filter. When anxiety goes up, language processing goes down.
Okay.
Plus, there is the issue of working memory. Miller's law suggests we can only hold about 7 things in our short-term memory. That backward sentence is long enough that by the time the bear finishes, Oliver has forgotten the beginning because he's trying to flip the end.
So his ears are failing him. His auditory processing isn't enough. He needs a different tool.
He needs a modality shift.
So he grabs a notebook. He externalizes the problem.
Smart kid.
He writes the letters down. He doesn't guess. He transcribes the sounds, probably asks the bear to repeat it, and captures the phones on the page.
And this is the moment where reading, it becomes decoding. And I think that's a distinction we really need to make clear for you.
Okay, so what's the difference? Because most of us think that's the same thing.
Well, most of us, especially when we're fluent readers, we don't really read letters.
We don't.
Not really, no. We read word shapes, we use saccades, our eyes jump across the page, and we recognize the booma shape, or the sort of envelope of the word. You see the shape of the word, help. Tall letter at the start, tall at the end, dip in the middle, and you know it instantly.
You don't sound it out.
You don't go H-E-L-P, it's automatic. But when it's backward, plah, the shape is gone, the recognition pattern is broken.
So Oliver has to sound it out. Y-O-U, you need to help me.
It forces him to look at the constituent parts of the language. It's aggressive phonics training disguised as a puzzle. By stripping away that autopilot, the bear is forcing Oliver to engage with the actual building blocks of literacy.
So the bear says, you need to help me. Oliver decodes it. The bear dramatically nods. And this kicks off what I'm calling the training montage of this deep dive.
Cue the inspiring music.
The bear gives him a specific instruction, backward, of course.
Yeah.
Night, Rui Isiu.
Which translates to use your think.
Which is just a great phrase. Use your think.
Yeah.
It implies thinking is an active tool,
Yeah.
you know, something you wield. So Oliver dives in. We see his progression. He's reading words backward. He's flipping short sentences. He's even starting to write his own encoded messages.
And that's significant because he's moving from just passive consumption, listening to the bear, to active creation. He's manipulating the code.
He's seeing language as a structure he can engineer, not just a sound that happens to him.
Exactly.
Right. And he's getting fast at it. There's this one point in the story where they hit a level of mastery that actually allows for humor. The bear says, "Drought keb sklat enon,"
Which is none talks backwards.
and Oliver just laughs immediately. He's like, hey, you just said something normal backwards.
It's a total meta joke. The bear saying no one talks backwards.
While talking backwards. But the fact that he catches the irony right away, that shows he isn't just decoding anymore.
Right, that is a huge leap. To get irony, you need to have surplus cognitive processing power available if you're struggling just to figure out what the words are.
You don't have the bandwidth for the tone.
Exactly. The fact that he laughs means he's fluent, his brain has built a new pathway, he's remapped how he processes language to fit this new rule set.
So what does all this mean for Oliver? I mean, we're not just training him to talk to magic bears. The case study explicitly lists the educational payoff.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the week, Oliver's academic skills have noticeably shifted.
Right. We see improvements in his reading skills, specifically recognizing letter patterns and spotting spelling mistakes.
Okay, hang on. Why does talking backward help you spot spelling mistakes forward? That seems counterintuitive.
You know, it connects back to that idea of autopilot we were talking about. Have you ever seen that internet meme where the text is all scrambled?
Oh, yeah, the one from Summer Rigdo, You Nerve to See.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, totally. It looks like gibberish if you stare at it, but if you just scan it.
Your brain just fills in the gaps. It sees what it expects to see.
Right.
That is your brain being efficient. But efficient brains miss details. That's why it's so hard to proofread your own writing. Your brain knows what you meant to write, so it shows you that instead of what's actually on the page.
So you become blind to your own typos.
Yes. But by forcing his brain to work inefficiently, by decoding every single word backward, Oliver became hyper-attentive to the specific sequence of letters.
He couldn't rely on the shape.
No! He had to look at every single letter. He's actually seeing the data now, not just the prediction of the data.
That makes so much sense. It's like cross-training for the brain.
That's a great way to put it. If you run with weights on your ankles, when you take them off, you fly. Oliver is reading with weights on.
So we arrive at the resolution. Oliver has mastered the skill. He's spotting typos. He's decoding like a pro. And then, one night, Mr. Fluffernoodle just drops the act. He speaks clearly for the first time in a week. I think you've learned enough.
I love the authority of this bear. I think you've learned enough. Like a little Zen master in plush form.
So Oliver gasps, you're talking normally. And the bear delivers. Well, it's pretty much the thesis statement for this entire deep dive.
Yeah.
He just says, sometimes learning just means looking at things from a different direction.
And that's it right there. It's such a beautiful summary. The curse of the backward talking wasn't a curse at all.
It was a pedagogical tool, a constraint introduced to force a specific type of growth.
Exactly.
And then the bear goes back to the status quo. He becomes a quiet, cuddly toy again.
Mostly.
Mostly. I love that detail, the lingering mystery. We're told that occasionally he'll mutter, "Thrinker-G,"
Good night.
just to keep Oliver on his toes.
Which is good practice. You don't want those new neural pathways to atrophy. Neuroplasticity is use it or lose it.
So let's zoom out. We've got a boy, a bear, a crash course in phonics.
Yeah.
But for you listening today, who presumably isn't trying to decode messages from your stuffed animals, what is the real takeaway here? How do we apply the Fluffernoodle method?
I think it comes down to this idea of voluntary disruption.
Voluntary disruption.
Yes. Usually we wait for a crisis to disrupt our thinking. But the bear shows us the value of doing it on purpose. When we get stuck on a problem, it's usually because we're in that autopilot mode. We're looking at it the same way we always have.
So if you're reading a complex report and you just can't focus, maybe you need to change the input. Read it out loud.
Or read the conclusion first. Or think about a physical skill, like playing guitar. If you keep messing up the same note, your brain has actually memorized the mistake.
You have to break the pattern.
Right. Play it backward, play it at half speed, play it on a different instrument.
Yeah.
You have to force the brain out of that efficiency mode and back into learning mode.
Oliver's breakthrough only came when he slowed down enough to write it down.
Yeah.
He had to lower the speed to increase the resolution.
We live in a world that values speed above all else. But sometimes that feeling of confusion that, I don't get this, it isn't a sign that you're stupid. It's a sign that you need to change your processing speed or your perspective.
I really like that. Confusion is just a signal that the current method isn't working.
Not that the problem is unsolvable. Precisely. The confusion was the mechanism for learning. If the bear had just explained phonics to him in normal English, Oliver would have just tuned out.
It would have been a lecture.
Exactly. The confusion forced engagement.
It's the difference between a lecture and a puzzle. A puzzle is confusing, but we want to solve it. A lecture can be clear, but we might just fall asleep.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Mr. Fluffernoodle gamified the struggle.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to try. A little homework.
Oh, giving the listeners homework. Bold move.
I think they can handle it. We talked about how Oliver had to reverse his thinking, literally to understand the bear. I want to challenge you. If you are stuck on a problem in your own life right now, a work project, a relationship issue, a decision you can't make, what would happen if you literally tried to process it backwards?
You mean start from the solution?
Exactly. Start from the good night. Imagine the problem is already solved perfectly. What does that end state look like? And then work backward, step by step, to where you are now. Reverse engineer the solution.
It forces you to see the causal links that you might miss when you're just staring forward into the unknown. You're looking at the letters of the solution, not the scary shape of the problem.
Exactly. Sometimes to go forward, you have to learn to think backward.
And if that doesn't work, maybe try eating a cookie. I hear it helps with the atmosphere.
Couldn't hurt. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Honora Rev. EIB.
See you next time.